savior of it. And by the way, Jackson was staunchly against the radical Jesuit-controlled Masonic secessionists of the South, which they tried to foment secession over the tariff. And then Jackson warned, he says, you will try this very same thing, 20 years later, not over the tariff, but over the issue of slavery.
Yeah, because Jackson was a Southerner at heart, was he not? He was a Tennessean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he absolutely distrusted John C. Calhoun.
And for good reason. Moving on to, William Henry Harrison. Of course, we know he died of the snivels not long after inauguration.
Right.
Right.
Now, William Henry Harrison is very important because Harrison is a great-great-great-grandson of the great Harrison that rode with Cromwell. Okay?
Okay.
And so one of the maxims of the order is that when you do a damage to them, they not only punish you, they punish your children, and it becomes generational. I think that's the case with the Kennedys.
Okay.
And so with Henry Harrison, William Henry Harrison, he was in office for from March 4th to April 4th, a mere 30 days or so. And he was given the poison cup. He was given arsenic. And what he did is he attacked the divine right of kings. What he said was, in his inaugural, was that, quote, we admit of no government by divine right. Okay. Believing that so far as power is concerned, the beneficent Creator has made no distinction among men, that all are upon an equality, and that the only legitimate right to govern is upon the express grant of power from the governed. Okay? So he completely repudiated the Holy Alliance's divine right to rule. And so that was one of the reasons that they got rid of him. He also says here, and I'm reading from Burke McCarty's The Suppressed Truth About the Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. She also says here that she quotes Senator Benton in his 30 years view on this. And Benton says that he had a quick sickness. He took on sickness immediately and quickly and died soon thereafter. And then he concludes by saying that the deceased president had been closely preceded and was rapidly followed by the deaths of almost all of his numerous family, sons, and daughters. This was also done to King Victor Emmanuel II, the King of Italy, who took the temporal power from the Pope in 1870. So, yes, Harrison was assassinated by the Jesuits along with his family.
Eric, I'm going to take you cold on this, and I'm looking at the time and such, but would you be opposed to going an hour and a half with us?
Well, that's fine. Just, how long, however it takes to get this accomplished.
All right. Well, I got a feeling it's going to run a little longer, and at this point in time, I just don't really want to compress it, but I can't also be generous with your time.
Okay. Well, it's fine with me, sure.
All right, great. We're going to go on from Harrison to, I'm assuming, the next possible victim. Well, the other thing is this. Did Tyler play a role in being the vice president of Harrison? Was there something Harrison wouldn't do that Tyler was more than willing to?
That's right.
Okay, can you fill me in on that? Because that's a little hazy, but I'm thinking I'm grabbing that.
Okay. Taylor would not annex Texas.
John Tyler.
Zachary Taylor would
Zachary
not
Taylor.
annex Texas.
Okay, no, I'm talking about John Tyler.
Tyler annexed it.
All right. Okay. Let's go back. Obviously, Harrison dies 3 months into his presidency, and John Tyler becomes the president.
That's right.
But, and I don't know if I'm confusing this, besides Zachary Taylor, who's also a victim, did Tyler indicate some kind of willingness to do something that Harrison wouldn't?
Yes. Tyler indicated that he would annex the state of Texas into the Union when Taylor would not. So remember, it was taken in, in 1830...
or something?
1845.
All right. Now, who was behind the annexation of Texas?
Evidently the Jesuits, according to Burke McCarty. They wanted to annex Texas because that would further Latinize our southern border with Roman Catholics in the state, of course, of the Mexicans. Of course, Texas was a Protestant state, nonetheless. But that they wanted to... Their apparent plan was an attempted to break away the South to make two separate nations of the south, of the country, then use the south to ultimately conquer the north, and then reduce it all under Romanism. Because Jefferson Davis, Judah Benjamin were both agents of the Vatican without a doubt, and the Rothschilds.
All right, so leaving Harrison, we can say that one, he opposed the divine right of kings.
That's right.
And two, he opposed the annexation of Texas.
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm just thinking back now. You say that Texas was Protestant?
Yes, Texas in their Declaration of Independence, and they were persecuted for their Protestant faith by the Roman Catholic government of Mexico.
But how do you feel about what happened with the whole bit about the incursion of Texans into probably what was legally Mexican/Spanish territory?
See, that's what I think would happen. I think the Jesuits were involved in the taking of Spanish territory in the name of Texas to further Catholicize our southern borders. It was the beginning of what we would suffer today as the illegal immigration of all these Mexican Roman Catholics illegally coming in the country with their Aslan quest. Okay. So that was apparently on the mind of the Jesuits at the time.
All right, we're going to say that this is the Grassy Knoll on Dade City Micro Radio, AM 1610 WDCX. We have with us Eric John Phelps. We're going to call this part 1 of 3 because Eric has acceded to stay on with us for 90 minutes. And honestly, I like to compress everything into an hour most of the time. And not to be, as I said, generous with Eric's time, but you know what? This is worth, I think. And if Eric's willing, so are we. And so we're going to go into part 2 right now. But before we do that, Eric, can you tell us about Vatican III? No, Vatican Assassins III, and your website.
Right. I have a website, VaticanAssassins.org, and people may contact me at Eric, E-R-I-C, at VaticanAssassins.org. And I have a list on the left of various topics that might be of interest to you. And then my third edition of Vatican Assassins hopefully will be out in a CD form only in about 60 days. I haven't been able to get a lot more information. It'll be nearly 1,100 pages with quite a few pictures and more quotes. And I think you'll find it extremely intriguing how the Vatican took the country in 1900. And I also have a thing on Cardinal Gibbons, which I think you'd find very interesting. But the book will, but the book will be available then, and hopefully within 60 days in a CD form. And then I have it in the copyright that the people who purchase the CD can download it in book form for themselves personally, and then use it as a book, because it would weigh probably 6 or 7 pounds to ship, and we just can't afford that. Well,
the other one could put a hurting on people too. Let me tell you. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Listen, have we an interesting story? We've not found a photo of Robert Lieber or Leiber. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've not, have you?
I haven't.
All right. Now I'll tell you what I also did. Are you familiar with? And I'll butcher this, and I think you know it best. Civilita Cattolica?
Oh, yeah, Civilita Cattolica.
Okay, close enough. Mm-hmm. I tried to do a search on that in the interlibrary loan to find somewhere. It doesn't exist. So this is something that's probably safeguarded by the Romanists. And we'll have to go into the labyrinth to try to find something there.
Robert Leiber was a key German Jesuit. He was the confessor of Pope Pius XII. He was a liaison and overseer of the SS and SD. This man is very important. He's a personal associate also of Augustin Bia, who later became a cardinal, and was involved in the same thing.
But it's interesting, though, that we can see so much in print about him, but not a face.
Right, yeah.
All right, moving along. Let's see. We passed Harrison, and now we go to Zachary Taylor. Served, not even a year, perhaps?
Right. Zachary Taylor was from March 4th, 1849 to July 9th, 1850. Yeah, just over a year. Zachary Taylor, in his inaugural address, had a wonderful address. He talked about maintaining the independence of the country. And he also used the term American Freeman, and that term is one word, F-R-E-E-M-E-N, American Freeman, which carried with them all the rights of citizenship, which included the Bill of Rights. And that it was a legal term at that time, and you never see it employed today. Never. you may see free man, but never the one word freeman. And of course, freemen were first citizens of their states and then thereby citizens of the United States. And that subordinate U.S. citizenship, the privileges of that subordinate U.S. citizenship included the Bill of Rights. So he was a very outspoken proponent of individual God-given common law rights as embodied in the Bill of Rights. Mm-hmm. And therefore he was also another heretic. He was another Protestant. And so they gave him arsenic, a poison cup. And of Zachary Taylor, we also have it in Benton's 30 Years View that Burt McCarty quotes, that he says, as these plotters against the Union had tried